What really happens if you fall into quicksand? Just hearing the word is enough to make most people uncomfortable. Movies love it, adventure stories adore it, and cartoons, well, they treat it like a bottomless pit that swallows people whole in seconds. One wrong step, a dramatic scream, and suddenly, you're gone forever. But here's the twist. That's not how quicksand actually works. In fact, it's physically impossible for a human to be completely swallowed by real quicksand. So why is it still so dangerous? This is if world, and here's what would really happen if you fell into quicksand. Why you don't sink at the beach. Let's start with something familiar. When you walk on a sandy beach, you don't slowly sink into the ground like it's trying to eat you. You stay on the surface. That's because of a simple physics principle called force distribution. Sand is made of billions of tiny grains. When they're packed tightly together, your weight spreads across a large area. That shared load keeps you from sinking. It's the same reason camels can walk on sand without disappearing into it. Wide feet, large surface area, less pressure. So far, sand seems harmless, but quicksand plays by different rules. How quicksand is formed. Quicksand isn't a special type of sand, it's a mixture. When underground water seeps upward and mixes with sand, it creates a strange, unstable surface. From the outside, it looks solid. Step on it, and suddenly, it isn't. This mixture behaves like both a solid and a liquid, and that's where things get tricky. Why movies get it so wrong? In movies, quicksand acts like a hungry monster. You sink straight down, your arms flail, your head disappears under the surface. End scene. Reality check, real quicksand is usually only a few feet deep, and humans are actually less dense than quicksand. That means, even if you fell straight in, you wouldn't sink much lower than your waist. Sounds comforting, right? Not so fast. The real danger begins when you panic. Quicksand is what scientists call a non-Newtonian fluid. That means its thickness, its viscosity, changes under stress. When you're calm and still, quicksand behaves more like a solid, but when you panic and start thrashing, it liquefies. The harder and faster you move, the more it turns into a liquid. So your natural instinct to fight, kick, and pull is exactly what makes things worse. The worst first reaction. Imagine this. You step into what looks like solid ground, your foot sinks, then your other foot, your heart rate spikes, your brain screams, "Get out now!" You yank your leg, it doesn't move, you pull harder, you sink deeper. This is where most people make the fatal mistake. Every frantic movement pulls water upward, breaking the sand's structure and sucking you down faster. Quicksand doesn't trap you because it's aggressive, it traps you because you help it. Why time is your enemy. Here's the cruel irony, struggling is bad, but staying still too long is also bad. Over time, quicksand slowly thickens again. It tightens around your legs like concrete. The longer you're stuck, the harder it becomes to move. The more energy you lose, the more exhausted you become, and exhaustion leads to bigger problems. Environmental dangers. Nobody thinks about quicksand rarely exists in safe, comfortable places. It's often found near riverbanks, along coastlines, in marshes, near tidal zones. That means exposure. You could face dehydration, starvation, hypothermia, heat stroke, sunburn, insects, predators, and if you're near the ocean, there's something worse. The tide is coming. Coastal quicksand is especially dangerous. Why? Because tides change. If you're trapped near the shore, you may only have 6 hours or less before the water level rises. And unlike quicksand, water can drown you. You're not alone out there. Depending on where you are, you might not be the only one watching. Animals often avoid quicksand instinctively, but scavengers, they don't. If you're stuck long enough, you become vulnerable, not because quicksand kills you, but because everything else might. Part 2. Why escaping feels impossible and what your body endures. Why pulling your leg out feels like lifting a car. Let's talk about the moment everyone underestimates. You finally stop panicking, you take a breath, you try to slowly pull one leg out, and nothing happens. It feels like your foot is glued to the earth. That's because quicksand creates suction. When you try to pull your leg upward, you're fighting against the weight of the sand, the water trapped between the grains. The vacuum effect formed as your leg moves. Scientists have tested this. To pull a foot straight up out of quicksand at a speed of just 1 centimeter per second, you'd need roughly the same force required to lift a small car. And, unless you've been secretly training for a superhero origin story, that's not happening. What's happening inside the quicksand? Inside quicksand, sand grains are packed incredibly tightly. When you move slowly, they resist. When you move quickly, they liquefy. So either way, pull too fast, you sink. Pull too slow, you're stuck. That's why brute strength doesn't work. Quicksand doesn't care how strong you are. It only responds to physics. What happens to your body over time? As minutes turn into hours, your body starts paying the price. The pressure from the sand restricts blood flow in your legs. This can cause severe pain, numbness, loss of muscle control. Nerves begin to suffer, and if you're trapped long enough, permanent nerve damage is possible. In extreme cases, the pressure can become so intense that circulation is completely cut off. If rescue comes too late, doctors may be forced to amputate a limb to save your life. Suddenly, escaping quicksand doesn't seem like the worst part. Temperature makes everything worse. Quicksand doesn't exist in climate-controlled rooms. If it's hot, your body overheats, you sweat, you dehydrate faster. If it's cold, wet sand drains heat from your body. Hypothermia becomes a real threat, and because you can't move freely, your body can't regulate temperature properly. You're stuck in survival mode. Exhaustion is the silent killer. Even if you're doing everything right, being trapped is exhausting. Your muscles are constantly tense. Your brain is flooded with stress hormones. Every movement costs energy. Eventually, your reactions slow. Your judgment fades. Panic tries to come back. This is often when people make a fatal mistake. They rush. The worst things you can do. Let's be clear. If you ever fall into quicksand, never. Jump, kick, thrash, pull straight upward. Try to climb out vertically. Every one of those actions increases suction and makes the sand behave more like a liquid. Movies lie. Hero moves get you killed. The mental battle. The hardest part isn't physical, it's psychological. Your brain is wired to panic when you feel trapped. Your instincts scream at you to escape immediately, but survival requires the opposite. You must stay calm, slow your breathing, override instinct. That's incredibly difficult when your body feels like it's being swallowed. What if you're near water? Now let's make it worse. Many quicksand areas are close to rivers, lakes, coastal zones. If water levels rise while you're trapped, the situation becomes critical. Quicksand won't pull you under, but water will, and once your chest is submerged, breathing becomes impossible. At that point, time runs out fast. Hope isn't gone yet. Despite all this, people do survive quicksand, but not by fighting it. They survive by outsmarting it. And that's where the real escape begins. Part 3. How to escape, what saves you, and the final truth. The only way out starts with calm. If there's one rule that matters more than anything else, it's this: do not panic. Panic turns quicksand into a liquid. Calm lets it behave more like a solid. Slow your breathing. Lower your heart rate. You need your brain fully online for what comes next. Step 1. Lose the weight. Anything heavy is working against you. If you're wearing a backpack, heavy boots, tools, extra gear, get rid of them. Dropping weight reduces the downward force pulling you into the sand. Yes, you might lose your stuff, but you'll keep your life. Fair trade. Step 2. Lean back, don't stand tall. Standing upright concentrates your weight into a small area. Bad idea. Instead, lean back slowly. Try to lie as flat as possible on the surface. This spreads your weight over a much larger area, just like lying on ice to avoid breaking through. As you lean back, water will slowly seep into the spaces around your body. That's good. Water reduces suction. Step 3. Let water help you. This part feels wrong, but it works. As water flows into the sand, the mixture becomes less resistant. You're not trying to escape fast, you're trying to change the sand's behavior. Slow movements allow the grains to rearrange themselves without creating suction. Think patience, not power. Step 4. Free one limb at a time. Never pull both legs at once. Start with one foot, move it slowly, side to side, not up, not jerking. Side-to-side motion breaks the suction gradually. Once your foot is free, place it gently on the surface, then repeat with the other leg. This process can take a long time, minutes, sometimes longer, but rushing resets all your progress. Step 5. Use leverage if you can. If you can reach a solid object, a stick, a branch, a pole, slide it underneath your back or arms. This increases leverage and spreads your weight even more. You're turning physics in your favor. Quicksand doesn't beat strength, it beats impatience. Rescue changes. Everything. If help arrives, follow instructions exactly. Emergency responders know how dangerous quicksand can be. They'll likely secure you with ropes, stabilize your position, pull you out gradually, never let someone yank you out vertically. That's how injuries happen. What happens after you escape? Getting out doesn't mean you're fine. You may experience severe pain, bruising, swelling, numbness. The pressure from densely packed sand can damage nerves and muscles. In serious cases, medical attention is necessary. And yes, some survivors are left with permanent injuries. Quicksand doesn't kill fast, it injures slowly. Why quicksand is still feared. So if quicksand can't swallow you whole, why does it still deserve its reputation? Because it's deceptive. It looks solid, it punishes panic, and it traps people long enough for the environment to finish the job. Heat, cold, water, time. Quicksand doesn't kill you directly, it just holds you still while danger catches up. The final truth. The movies lied. Quicksand isn't instant death, but it's not harmless either. Survival isn't about strength, it's about understanding what's happening beneath your feet. Stay calm, move slowly, use physics, not force, and you'll walk away. Final message, CTA. This is If World. If you enjoy discovering the truth behind dangerous myths, survival science, and extreme what-if scenarios, subscribe to the channel, because knowing how the world really works might save your life one day.